Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Elias here with Weekly Wrestling Heat. We are back with another episode. It's a two-man
What
crew
up?
for now. Hopefully. Two-man
What
crew,
up?
hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. We might have a special guest jump on later on tonight. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's been another interesting week in wrestling. And people are getting fired for sending Mickey James stuff in trash bags.
You know, I read that Triple H tweet, and then I read a tweet from Gail Kim where she's like, they're still doing this. So obviously it's been going on for a while. But I don't know. Dude, before we get into NXT and AEW, one thing I really want to touch on, probably the only thing I enjoyed on Raw, was the Randy Orton and Matt Riddle match, bro.
I think that was one of the best matches I've seen on Raw. Well, one of the few good matches that Raw has actually shown in a while.
Dude, Riddle has been killing it. He's been doing really good with Sheamus. He's doing well with Randy. I want to see what they do with Riddle after this.
I am too, and here's the interesting thing about it. There when Randy Orton did the Stone Cold podcast, right? He actually said that Riddle was one of the few people that was growing on him. So I'm pretty much it. I think Randy really wanted to work with him on this one. So I think it's a good thing to see. I think it's a pretty interesting thing, and I think we're gonna. I'm excited to see what's next with this feud that they got going on. So,
Yeah, man. Other than that, I think the SmackDown main event between Cesaro and Uso was good. I know we mostly touch on NXT and AEW, but there's not much going on in the news realm, so I thought I'd drop these two tidbits. I think Cesaro looks like $1 million. I think Rollins is going to let him get another win. Actually, I would like to see Rollins win this one, and then maybe you could do like some sort of stipulate. Like, I would love a 30-minute Iron Man match between those two.
I would love to see something like that. Here's the thing. Here's the question. What do you see next for what do we see next for Cesaro? Do we see him go to the actual main title picture, or do we see him actually just stay where he's at? That's the important question to see when we're talking about Cesaro.
I think Cesaro will. I think they can do a one-off with Roman on a pay-per-view. But if you're going to do a one-off and have him lose, then let him do Rollins. Let him feud with Rollins for the next two. Let him do Roman for one, and then he has to beat Apollo because by then Apollo will have a 3-4 month title reign.
Yeah. Well, I think it's one of those things that we might actually see. I was interested on how they presented Cesaro and how Roman kind of disrespected Cesaro. So it kind of adds that heat to Roman to make him seem like he's a super heel.
And the good thing about this is Paul Heyman and Seth Rollins are both in love with Cesaro, and so is Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan and Paul Heyman have that backstage pool. Cesaro's the guy he's working with. Uso and him have been in the ring many times. They're really good friends too. I think the stars are aligning for Cesaro.
I think so too. I think it's going to be interesting to see what's next for him. I am excited to see what's next for him in a sense, because you never know exactly what WWE is thinking, especially when it comes down to stuff like this. So the fact that he's being pushed into the main event scene is really interesting in my opinion.
Let me throw a hypothetical out there for you really quick. Okay, let's say he has a couple more matches. Let's say he goes 2 more pay-per-views with Rollins. And then let's say he's in the Money in the Bank, he loses. And from Money in the Bank, you build a feud between Edge and Cesaro. Would you be interested in Edge and Cesaro?
Actually, I would. I think it would be a good blow off match to have.
I think rather than him losing to Roman, I think if you let Edge, if we're keeping Edge heel, I think that could be very fun because Edge would definitely get him over.
Yeah. So before we get into it, there was the Stone Cold documentary biography.
I didn't watch
That is
it, dude.
something.
Did you watch it?
Yes, I recommend anybody who can to watch it. I think it's a really good
I don't know
documentary.
how to find it.
It's on A&E. So if you go to A&E and you have cable, you'll get that free. You'll get to play it for free. So it's on there. I just watched it the other day. So
Okay, cool,
all
cool. Yeah,
right,
I definitely want to check it out.
let's get into AEW right quick. I
Oh,
really enjoyed this.
one thing in news I really want to touch on, and I think it's really big for the wrestling community. MLW got a TV deal with Vice, and I think that's great news for wrestling. I know I said there wasn't much news, but that just came back to my head. I think MLW getting a TV deal, even if they're pulling $500 to $500. Let's say they're pulling 250 to 500,000. Like that's still good because I think that can
MLW
open
is
up. Yeah.
MLW is in the stages of where they can take off and become something big. They have the talent. Of course, they got the Samoan bulldozer, I guess they call him, or the Samoan, the what's his name, the Onai Rikishi's kid, other kid
Oh,
or cousin.
yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name right now. If you want to Google that really quick. And the cool thing is, they have a lot of talent sharing with Impact too.
Yeah,
So
and then
this could be good for Impact.
you also have people like Selena De La Renta. You have Gino. You have La Park, Nicola La
TJP.
Park, Leo, TJP, Leo Rush,
Leo,
Jacob
yeah.
Fatu, Alex Hammerstone. You have these guys that are really built and really established that are pretty legit.
Do they talent share with
And
ROH at all? Do you know?
who? No, they
Do
don't.
they?
I don't think
No.
so. No.
Because it'd be
And then
cool to see if Dan Houchen could get over with that type of crowd.
you also have people like the Von Erichs, which are third generation or second generation. You have people like ACH. You have Simon Gotch. People Savio Vega, Dirty Blondes.
People who know how to work a TV camera.
Yeah, so you have the experience there, and you have the potential to become something really big, which I think is really important when it comes down to trying to build a TV show.
Jabari
I
is
will
there
say
too, right?
this: yeah, Dabari is. He's part of a faction, La Contra, I think, or
Yeah,
I
the
forgot.
Selena
I need to catch
De
up.
La Renta faction, right?
No, he's on the other side of it. Anyways, before we go into it, we were talking about NXT and AEW being on separate nights. I think the experiment is working for both them being separate. AEW, of course, pulled over 1.1 million, and NXT rose up to 845. So I think it's a good thing that they separated both brands and they allowed them to do themselves, because I think it's really showing. NXT is showing slow growth, of course, and then you see AEW tittering between 1.1 and 1.2. So let's see where it goes. Anyways, let's get into AEW Dynamite. Man, I really enjoyed this show.
I did
I
too.
think my favorite I think my favorite match of the night. I would love to say my favorite match of the night was actually the Tai Conti versus Hikaru Shida match.
Dude, I've been on this bandwagon since day one. You will vouch here. I was on the Tay Conti bandwagon since he got signed there. I love it. I love that it looks like Britt Baker can take the title from Cena, but I would love to see like a mini feud between Tay Conti and Britt Baker for a little bit.
Yes, and I agree. I think Tai Conti works really well with Shida, and then at the end of the match for Britt Baker to come out and be show herself as the number one contender added that little cherry on top. I think AEW is doing a really good job at AEW is doing a really good job at actually pushing their women's division more now that they're on separate nights, so they're able to give the women more time. They're able to give them spotlight them like they're supposed to. So I'm really impressed with this match. It was hard hitting. It was really Really good. I think it went 2 segments, if I'm not
It went
mistaken.
it went 2 segments, and the one gripe with AEW's women division that I still have is if there's like 5 to 10 minutes to kill between a main event, it's usually one of their women's matches that doesn't live up to the hype that it should. You know, it's usually a squash match, or it's usually a very sloppy match because the girls just try to get all their stuff in really quick. So I
Yeah.
needed to get the women out of that spot. Put like a backstage promo there or something. Hype up one of the women. I would like that, like how you do with the Jade Cargill videos. Do something like that
Yeah.
instead. Because I thought Sheeta and
What did
Tay looked badass in their pre video.
I really also enjoyed one thing I really enjoyed about AW this week was the spotlight they had on the Pinnacle and on um
Circle.
Inner Circle, separate little vignettes, separate little interviews that they had with them. I thought Wardlow looked like a star, and that's something rare to see when they spotlight people like Wardlow. Like with the Inner Circle, Santana brought the heat when he had his little segment on there. And then Hager was just like,
But Hager, I kind of like the Hager stuff because he bought the comic relief rather than Ortiz or
yeah,
Santana or Sammy bringing it, you know?
yeah. And
And
this is the first time. Go ahead.
go, no, I said the Wardlow thing, I completely agree with you. And it kind of makes me think Jericho stumbled on his lines on purpose last week.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think they're doing a good job at I think they're doing a good job at spotlighting each member of both factions. I know we were talking about the Bloody Guts match. That's going to probably be, people were saying it's going to be 2 hours long. No, it's going to be probably 30 minutes to 45 minutes long because they already put out kind of a teaser of the card that's going to happen that day on next Wednesday.
Okay.
So
But
it may
wait. It's not next Wednesday, though, is it?
it is next Wednesday.
No, next Wednesday.
Oh, wait, no, 2 Wednesdays.
Yeah.
No, 2 Wednesdays. 2 Wednesdays from now. My bad. My bad. I'm already thinking a week ahead. But yeah, no, it's
I would like that Britt Baker take Conti match right there. If you're gonna have Britt Baker go over, I think having that as your first match to get the viewers hooked, and then giving 90 minutes of in ring time to the Blood and Guts, I think would be solid.
well, not even 90 minutes. Give it a whole hour, a whole 45 minutes. Give it a whole segment. Give it at least 2 segments, and I think it's your typical War Games match.
But then
So
don't you need to
if
have a break every time someone comes out and gets their hot spot in to get the crowd to cool down? Don't you need to have a TV break?
yeah, because of the fact that they're on live television, yes, you're gonna need a TV break. Unless they're able to get away with it with picture in picture, you probably still see some of the action on there. Um, but yeah, I thought Inner Circle did a good job. I thought Pinnacle did a good job at highlighting their members. Um, the segment between the Elite and John Moxley and Eddie Kingston made me laugh.
I liked it a lot too. I just thought it was kind of weird how they weren't in the trailer, even though they were in the trailer a minute before.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of funny how they just magically disappeared. But um, Kingston and Moxley work great together, and it's like a married couple how they were arguing and outside, and it just made it funny. Um, One match that was underrated that I really liked was the Billy Gunn versus QT Marshall match.
Dude, okay. So I had one problem with this match. So, the guy who's a monster for not a go-go, but the guy who looks like a beast on QT Marshall's team,
Yeah.
Nick something, right?
What you call it? Not a go Camarado.
Colorado. One problem I had is Billy Gunn's kids ran him backstage and it looked like they were doing damage, but then that wooden chair did nothing to him. So that was the little gripe I had, but that's easily forgettable. I think they're building to a bull rope match between Dustin and QT.
QT.
And I think that's when Cody's going to make his comeback is after QT starts doing something after match.
Yeah, I think so too. I think Cody's been trying to stay away, and this is what I like. This is what I'm liking about Cody. Cody's not trying to hog the spotlight. He's trying to allow his talent to grow. I think they put when they posted the rankings, Cody wasn't on it, and he was like, "Hey, like these guys are working their asses off. They deserve to be on it." I think that's one good way to go to has a EVP, has a booker, not to book yourself to be in the main event picture or in any kind of picture to push your talent to where they need to go. I think that's one thing that AEW is greatly improving on. Hopefully, they continue to ride that train and they continue to do that. Um, the anything. Let's see what else. What else do we?
Oh, I was really scared during that Hangman Page and Ricky Starks match because Starks looked like after that reverse of the German suplex, it looked like he was completely out of it. And then even when he came out to save Will Hobbs, he was limping. So I don't know if that's if he's selling, that's a great sell job. But if he's not, dude, it looked like he landed right on his head when
his neck. Yeah, you could tell it was kind of. You could tell it was kind of one of a rough spot to see. He got up like nothing, but at the same time, you don't know how much that can affect you in the long run.
And AEW does a really good job keeping their injuries hidden.
Yeah, so you won't know exactly what will happen. The end of the match was pretty much. I think the end of the match was pretty much perfect with having Taz come out and be on the mic, and then the Inner Circle come and help him. So another match that actually kind of was impressed me, but then reminded me of their previous match that they had before was the Penta versus Trent. A lot of that match reminded you of that first match they had last year or a year before. So a lot of the spots were the same. So it kind of was just felt like a rehearsed match in a sense.
Homeboy Alex is growing on me though. Alex is funny. I like Alex.
Yes,
he's pretty funny.
Alex Abrahantes. I think he's growing into his role. He was kind of like that Inner Circle spokesman with the when he's doing the Sammy blog, like kind of like the recruiter. But I like him in this spot with Penta. I think him being his mouthpiece, I think he's really good on the mic, and I think he has a bright future ahead of him. The promo that he threw was pretty good too. Damn, we're almost through with AEW.
Oh no, I'm going to talk about that main event. Let's talk about Jungle Boy and Darby Allin. So last week we complained about how Darby Allin was kicking out of stuff he shouldn't be kicking out of. And then this week he's no-selling everything he went through last week. And I just, if you get a twist of fate like that on the stage with a steel chair in your neck, when Jungle Boy hooks that STF, you got to sell it better. Like, he sold it, but, I don't know. The Darby Allin thing, I feel like they're trying too hard, and you don't need to because he's so over.
Yeah. I think so too. I think it was a suplex that the reverse spike hurricanrana that Jungle Boy did. I think that was a botch in a sense because instead of grabbing the neck, he grabbed him by the waist, and did the spike, and he landed pretty bad. That was kind of cringy in a sense. I know that's one of the highlights that I kind of cringed at when I saw it. I thought other than that, the match was pretty good. They really highlighted both wrestlers and made them look good. I think that both Darby and Jungle Boy have a bright future ahead of them, especially how good they made Jungle Boy look.
But here's the thing, man. Like, Jungle Boy, it seems like he's going to get that Daniel Bryan type of push where he'll keep losing and eventually he'll overcome, right? But Darby, it's like you want to book him Jeff Hardy, but you're booking him like John Cena. And it's kind of weird to me, but because Darby is so over. So the only way I'm okay with all this is if Miro take that title off of him.
Yeah, I think that's where.
By the way.
Yeah, the Miro segment was nice. I think that they're finally starting to book him a little right. At the beginning, it was kind of like meh, but now it's like they're starting to let Miro be Miro, and I think that's one thing that I enjoyed seeing, and which was something that I always griped about, especially with Miro, being that he left WWE because of the fact that they weren't using him right, and now that they're when he started AEW, he kind of had a slump, and now that he's starting to go solo again, I think they just need to keep him by himself. I know we're eventually going to see him versus Kip Sabian, and I guess that's going to be Kip Sabian's face turn. But I'm excited to see what's next for him, in my opinion.
Do what was I gonna say? I definitely hope. Like, I don't even know if I want to Kip Sabian face turn. Just like have a heel destroy, like have Miro as a heel destroy him, but just have Kip be cocky after like, French fight all the time or whatever. Just something like that would be fine.
Yeah.
I I'm kind of whatever on the whole what's it called? Crap, I forgot what segment it was. There was a segment I really wanted to talk about. Hangman Page. So he's ranked number 1, but it seems like they're building Christian to face Kenny at the next pay-per-view. And that's what Rod Geary tweeted too. And Wrestling Inc.'s been pretty on point with their stuff. So I don't know what Hangman Page is going to do at the next pay-per-view then.
I don't know. Like, even his match with Will Hobbs was good. He made Will Hobbs look like $1 million. I will tell you that.
And he's going to make Ricky look like $1 million. Yeah.
Yeah, but having him lose is kind of like, I don't know. It's like you kind of start wondering, what do you want to do with these big men?
Because Brock Page is losing next week.
Yeah. So it's like,
man. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like kind of like you don't know exactly what they want to do with the big men. And I mean, I'm seeing everything go towards Team Taz imploding, which will be interesting to see. But at the same time, I don't know.
I think the only big man they're booking probably right now, and it was an ugly way to get there, is Archer. But even there, I'm confused as fuck as to what's going on. This is that thing, like, I don't know if they're doing backstory on Elevation or if they're doing backstory on Dark. But ever since Sting hyped him up, it looks like we're getting a face turn. But then you're gonna squash all Ego and Scorpio Sky, it seems, with this guy. And I don't know, man. Like, something about that Archer push just people are not. It's going to be very 50-50. People are going to be happy Archer's finally getting the push, but people are going to be very upset that Ego is the one getting squashed for it.
Yeah, because you really wanted to see Ego do something. Like, you don't. He came in and he was already getting that rub, and now it's like his rub is dying. Like, I don't think they're utilizing to his best potential, in my opinion.
I would have liked to see Ego and Scorpio feud with like SCU or Jurassic Express instead. Get a couple of wins under your belt on TV, not on Dark, on TV, before they do this. But
yeah, I agree.
I think that's all on AEW, though. Is there anything else you want to touch on AEW?
The Will Hobbs cage match, I think, was pretty good. Like I said, it's just they made him look. Cage made him look good, but it just came at the expense of him.
Team Taz needs to win. Team Taz needs to win.
Yeah, Team Taz needs to win. I guess that's the main thing that kind of I'm griping about, because they've been on a losing streak lately, and I think it's not fair to them. They have a lot of potential. They have a lot of good people in their team, and they have a great person that's on the mic.
Do you think Brian Cage beats Adam Page and then Christian beats Brian Cage so they can do Christian versus Kenny at the pay-per-view?
You know what? I've thought of that. I think that's a strong potential to happen, in my opinion.
But then it's that whole start and stop thing that everyone craps on WWE about, right? Like you're starting and stopping these pushes. You're doing the same thing with Brian Cage and Hangman at that point. If you're going to let Cage win, then lose to Christian.
No, I agree. It goes back to the same 50-50 booking that WWE does.
But since AEW is doing it, all the nerds are going to say, "Oh, yay, this is proper booking."
Yeah, basically. All right, so that's AEW in a nutshell. Let's get into NXT. I really enjoyed the LA Knight versus Dexter Lumis match. LA Knight is slowly coming out of his show, and we're starting to see a lot of character from LA Knight, and I'm enjoying this storyline between Dexter Lumis and Indy Hartwell. It's starting to grow on me more.
Dude, I loved it in the Dexter Lumis thing. I know Matt wasn't a fan of it, but I am really high on that storyline. I don't know. I like the comic relief. I enjoyed it. I did not enjoy Kyle O'Reilly being cool Kyle. I thought it was kind of lame. Elias, you didn't tell me your thoughts yesterday when I messaged this in the group, so I'm kind of excited to hear your thoughts on this Kyle O'Reilly direction they're going.
I think that this is the old Kyle O'Reilly from ROH.
Was that Kyle O'Reilly over? I never watched ROH like that, so
he was over in ROH. So it's like the matches he had with basically everybody that was in the Undisputed Era. Him tagging with Bobby Fish and stuff like that was pretty legit. I think this is just Kyle O'Reilly being Kyle O'Reilly. This is the way he dresses outside of WWE, and they're just letting him do him.
So he's a goofball, but like a likable
he's a goofball. Yeah, he's a likable goofball. Like they're allowing, and that's the thing. They're allowing him to be himself, and that's what is really, that's what's really hitting with me right now. That I'm really liking because of the fact that they're allowing him to be himself.
Yeah,
which definitely. is pretty legit.
Then you had Joey Stark versus Sheree.
Ooh,
I love this match. Yeah,
hard hitting match, and then Toni Storm coming at the end and taking out Zoe Stark was a pretty was I would like to say kind of like that cherry on top with like that with kind of the sense of Britt Baker coming out with after the Sheeta versus Tay Conti match. I think that both Sarray and Zoe Stark went at it pretty well. It's the first time I'm watching Sarray wrestle live. Wrestle like in the States. So her style still it's kind of like Asuka's style. So I'm liking it, but she's more into that strong style. So it's like it's hard hitting.
It's like a mix of Io and Kyrie to me.
Yeah, kind of like that.
That's what I get out of it. Yeah, and Sheree and Toni Storm. If you start in NXT with that, I'm sure the ratings would be awesome. Joey Stark. It seems like they're going the whole kind of the Jungle Boy / Daniel Bryan pre-push way with her. Like they're trying to build her up as that sympathetic babyface. And I think it's working because she's so damn good in the ring,
Yeah, and she's a great seller too. There's the cross leg, I guess, like you call it figure four, reverse figure four submission that he had her in. She was selling that really well. When Sarray was sitting on her back and had her in the figure four.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that part of it. And I think I'm excited to see what else is Sarray is about because like I said, this is the first time I'm seeing Sarray wrestle in the States. I know a little bit about her work outside. I know she's a pretty gifted wrestler, but her getting adjusted to the American style, it will be interesting to see how she adapts to the NXT style.
If you debut anyone on TV at a takeover with Hunter or Stephanie sitting next to them, they're gonna get a monster push. You know that's coming.
Yeah. So, and I I think Saray is going to be built to dethrone either Raquel or Mercedes or whoever's the champion then. It's going to take a while because it always takes about 6 months to a year for that person to get that monster put that gets that monster push to hit it, and it's going to be at a takeover. So,
and one thing I want to touch on, I know we're jumping around. It seems like EO is going to do the goodbye match with Frankie Monet, aka Taya, and I think Taya and EO are both going to get called. I don't think Taya's in NXT for long. I don't see her holding that title. I see her maybe in one or two feuds and getting out of there.
I kind of agree. I think they're going to put her on with Morrison.
With the whole Maurice and Miz stuff, right? Like,
yeah.
It seems like she's going to be involved in that.
But I really enjoyed that promo, though. Kind of low-key liked it. And especially, like, her just coming in and being, like, telling Beth's story. Like, oh, I watched you when I was a kid. And then just, like, seeing Beth's expression was, like, hilarious to me.
Elijah, you're an NFL fan?
Yeah.
So with Beth Phoenix doing that sit down with EO, it kind of reminded me of the old ESPN Gruden quarterback camps they used to do. Remember where he would get all the quarterbacks and he'd bring them in and they'd do the tape review? It kind of reminded me of that because Beth wasn't just being all nice and friendly to her. She was asking the tough questions like, you asked for this match, you know? And then after this powerbomb, I knew you were winded. And after this powerbomb, I knew you were done. So...
But that also goes to show how good Beth Phoenix is at calling the action and being able to spot things like that. You don't see that very often from a female commentator or anything like that. Well, anybody in general, because not even Michael Cole can actually get to that detail like Beth can. So
I would love to see them do something like this with Wade Barrett sitting down with some of the men roster, because you could always tease that Wade Barrett match, right? Like, if Pete Dunne loses, you have both the Englishmen sit down, Pete Dunne just not even caring about the tape review, and Wade Barrett's like, dude, do you know what I did in this company? He's like, well, year over year, I was winning the IC title however many times I won it, you know? You could always do something like that. He could be like, well, year over year losing to Finn Balor, I was beating John Cena on the main roster. So you might want to take me seriously. Something like that, you know?
Yeah, I think that would be a good thing. And I think Wade also kind of still hinted that he still has a couple of matches in him. So I think we might actually see Wade Barrett in action in NXT.
Who's your favorite commentary team right now? Because all the commentary teams have gotten shaken up, basically. So who's your favorite right now?
I'll stick with NXT because Vic Joseph is the next Tom Phillips, because, well, even Michael Cole, because the way he does play. So we talked about this in our chat, how we were talking about the shakeup with the new guy from ESPN coming into Raw and kind of having,
which I think people are a little too hard on Adnan right now. It's his second week. It's not as bad as Mike Adamle. I hate when people say it's as bad as Mike Adamle. Like, dude, it's the guy's second week. Mike Adamle was butchering lines 6 months in.
Yeah, and here's the thing, like, Vic Joseph, when he was doing commentary on Main Event and Superstars, was pretty good at it. And
even
now
NXT UK, the little bit he had there,
yeah. So it's like I do kind of miss what's his name, Fudge Cake, what's his name, the other Englishman.
Nigel.
Nigel, I miss Nigel a little bit because Nigel was really good on the commentary, but I enjoy seeing him in commentary in NXT UK. So,
anyway? You know who's growing on me, dude? Okay, you watch SmackDown, right? You're not Matt, so you watch SmackDown. When we had that was it the Rey Mysterio match where he stood up? There was one match where after the match, McAfee was standing up, and it seemed like he broke character. And Michael Cole had problems with him before, but Michael Cole obviously signed off on this. Like, the way Michael Cole seemed like he didn't care, like he seemed like damn, McAfee actually got into this, you know? I can't
Yeah.
remember what match it was, but McAfee stood up and was clapping, and I was like, damn, like it brings a sense of realism to it, you know? And
Yeah,
go,
I think sh- I think putting McAfee on commentary with Cole is great because Cole is the experienced play by play. You have your color commentator with McAfee there. The 2-man team just it's he's learning a lot from Cole. But McAfee already has the charisma, can talk on the mic, can do everything since he has his own podcast as well.
it
He's
was a
able
tag
to
team title
do
match,
that.
by the way. It was a tag team title match where he stood up. Street Profits and
Yeah,
Dolph and Rude.
yeah.
And,
So
and
I
he
think
put those guys over, dude. He made Montez and Angelo seem like stars. He made the Dirty Dog seem like champions. Like he was. I loved it. I loved the energy.
and you know what's funny? He thought that he sucked. Like he thought he didn't do well enough to his standards. So imagine having Pat McAfee at his standard. How great it will be. Like how great it will be to see him do what he's doing.
Definitely,
So it's
dude.
like
Like he
it's
he
exciting.
is
I
he's
I
money.
really like that they put Byron Saxton and Corey Graves with Adam Burke. Because of the fact that they get to learn. Corey is great. Has a heel commentator, and Byron Saxton is a good color commentator as well, which brings that comic relief as well. So
Yeah,
it's
and
they
Corey calling out Adnan for marking over Charlotte and stuff like where Adnan was like, "Oh, should I?" Like the first week when Adnan was like, "Oh, she needs someone to lower the ropes for her. Should I go?" And Corey's like, "You sound like such a mark right now," and it was so great. Like, 'cause I think you need some markness at the table.
no, you definitely like this. Here's the difference about WWE commentating with AEW. The AEW, you actually see them mark out for certain things. Like certain things, and you get to see the color commentating. You get to see the side comments and stuff like that. That's what makes AW commentating really good. Especially since they have JR, they have that person there that's gonna carry the match as a play by play. And having the rest of the guys there actually adds just that complete package.
But but
Looking
but
at
it takes away when Jim Ross doesn't seem interested. Like when last week when Statlander was doing the boop 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 thing, like he made some dumb comment, and that's the one thing I think like it. You can tell Jr's heart isn't into it. Like
yeah.
he doesn't think. You can tell who he thinks is a star and who he doesn't think is a star.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it's one of those things since he has so many years in the industry. He has that kind of that factor that he already kind of has is stuck with the people that he knows um are going to be stars. So he knows who to put over. He knows who he doesn't want to put over in a sense.
Yeah.
So all right, let's get
Next,
back to NXT. Um,
yeah. We talked about the women. We talked about the opening segment. We talked about the opening match. Where do you want to go to next
uh,
on this?
Kushida versus Oni Larkin. I thought this was one of my favorite matches of the night. Kushida looks great. Has cruiserweight champion.
Dude,
I he's
that ring gear change helped him out so much.
that and his they allowed him to be more aggressive, and that's one thing that he was kind of holding back. I remember the Kushida from when he was in New Japan. Oh, hard hitting, but acrobatic, everything. So seeing him and
And next week's
especially pairing,
fire. Next week's gonna be fire with Legato and MSK Legato versus MSK and Kushida. That's gonna be fire.
oh yeah, that's gonna be a nice match. But anyways, they did a great job at putting him with Oni Lorcan. I thought Oni Lorcan looked really good in this match as well. So I like the fact that they're able to find people that are going to work well together. and I think that's one thing that NXT has been doing really great on. Um, the Imperium versus Everrise, even though it's kind of a squash match in my opinion, I thought that Imperium looked really good on as a unit. Um, and then I think my favorite part of that one was when and I saw the replays before I actually watched the show, but Killian Dane with that's it, Killian Dane, and then with Alexander Wolf, that little standoff, and then when you have Drake Maverick come and try to punch him, and just Killian Dane throws him off, so it kind of shows like the shades of Sanity kind of trying to reunite in a sense. So, do we see Sanity reunite in NXT?
Man, I think Imperium needs that bulldozer on their team, but I don't want it to be Killian because then Drake Maverick goes to the wayside again. I need them to let Drake Maverick do what he can do in the ring. Like, quit having him job out. Let him have a 10 to 15-minute match. Maybe with the winner of the Leon. Let Leon lose the feud to Swerve, and maybe Drake Maverick can go on there. I don't know how you do it, but you need I want to see Drake Maverick in the ring doing what we know he can do.
Oh yeah, and I think that would be pretty exciting to see at the same time because I was a big fan of Drake Maverick, especially when he was doing the when he was in the tournament for the Cruiserweight title.
Even as Rockstar Spud in Impact, people love the dude.
Oh yeah, he's really talented, and I think he's one of the most underrated superstars in WWE right now.
I don't think they'll do it. I don't think they'll do it, but if you can have Jeremy Borash write with him, like have Jeremy Borash write his segments, I think we can get the crowd behind him as a huge baby.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he has a great potential to be the next Cruiserweight title champion, or in North American, at least put him in the North American title picture. One match that I did enjoy that I kind of forgot about was the Breezango versus Grizzled Young Veterans.
Yes, dude, there are wrestlers cracking up on Twitter. Like Cesaro was like, "I love Breezango," and like people love the whole Queen's Guard that they dressed up as. And yeah, dude, that match was a very looked over match because both the shows were so stacked.
Yeah, I think that I want to see more of Breezango. I enjoy Breezango's presentation. Grizzly Young Veterans look great like always. I think that it's one of those. I want to see a rematch between them and MSK, which we're eventually going to see. Because I know we're going to get that rematch for the NXT Tag Team titles. So I think that's one of the ones that we're pretty much going to be happy to see. I think that's it. Imperium versus Everrise.
What was the main event?
Kyle O'Reilly versus Cameron Grimes.
Good match. They got This Is Awesome Stance. Cameron Grimes is on another level right now as well. I can't wait till they bring in Ted DiBiase, who's already said he's working on stuff with Grimes. So that'll be a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty much excited to see exactly what they're going to do with them. I really enjoyed the intro at the beginning, the opening segment when Cameron Grimes was just like, "You lost," and then it's like, "I can help you out. He's my tag team partner," and then he got knocked. Kyle O'Reilly cleaned his clock with that. So I think that was a pretty good opening segment that led to a good match. Kyle O'Reilly looks good. And I think that that stare down that he had with Karrion Kross kind of like made me excited to see if he's going to be the next one to challenge for the title.
Do you have Karrion win in a squash match there to build his dominance?
I think it won't. I don't think it'll be a squash match, but I think it'll be a good match, a good steady tempo match to highlight Kyle O'Reilly, but at the same time make Karrion look dominant, because that's the same thing that he had with Finn Balor. So I think we could see that kind of style match. I think a good match for Karrion Kross, especially knowing his moveset, knowing how he moves, is that start slow tempo, and then pick it up in the middle. And I think
Because
that's
Kyle
just
does that as well.
yeah,
That's
yeah. So and him and Finn Balor had a great chemistry when it came down to the matches that they had. So I'm interested to see. I'm interested to see what's going to be next for Adam Cole because they're still teasing him. So I don't think Adam Cole really is leaving NXT right now. I think he's going to come back and try to challenge Karen Cross, and that's going to be another good match to see. Probably a squash match, in my opinion.
I think
Not a
Io's
like,
going to be. I think Io's the next one getting called up. I think we all agree on that, right?
yeah, I think so too. I think they're gonna probably put her on SmackDown.
Yeah, have her. I wouldn't mind seeing her and Asuka team up on the main roster just because you need women's tag teams, right? Um, but I really like the chemistry between Indy and Mackenzie Mitchell backstage too. Like Mackenzie's over here, like, "Oh, give me the details," and Ken's like, "There are no details." I love that. Like, I think Gargano is doing great. Austin Theory, how he was like, "I got a match with Bronson next week, and if I win, or if he wins, then he gets to challenge you." And Gargano's like, "He just pinned you," and he's like, "Yeah, but I got it this time." I love the way. I think the way is awesome. I know a lot. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but I love it.
I think the way is doing a good job at selling, and putting each other over.
Yeah,
And the comedic aspect of it, it's pretty good when it comes down to chemistry and stuff like that. So,
dude,
um,
they can make India star if they don't mess this up.
I don't think they're gonna. I don't think it's gonna go that way. I think Indy's gonna flourish on her own, and she already is. Look at her. Look at this whole storyline with her and Dexter Loomis. It's like it's gonna eventually. I think you know what this reminds me of the Otis Mandy Rose storyline.
Okay, I was gonna say it reminds me of Kane and AJ.
That too, but I think it's kind of like a mixture because you want that payoff that you're gonna see. You're eventually gonna kiss. You're eventually gonna get together. Blah blah blah. But it's a mixture of both because she got that pretty girl going after the weird guy, which is the reminiscence of AJ Lee and Kane. But also you're wanting to see the build like how Otis was trying to get Mandy Rose. I think you're
Yeah,
building towards that same thing. So I think it's a pretty good thing to I'm pretty interested to see where they're going to take this next. So I think that's it. I think they've
yeah.
covered both
Man,
both things.
we saved like 20 minutes not having Matt on today. Mm.
but anyways, going back. So interesting thing. Um, WWE is developing a anime series with Crunchyroll.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I'm
Hmm.
going through the news, um, so yeah,
Oh, I also with that MLW stuff. I think MLW is gonna be the first ones to start touring again because I don't know if these tickets. So MLW had a Dallas show listed for August.
yeah.
So I think MLW is gonna be the first ones touring again, and then AEW says they want to be back on the road by July. So I don't know what's going on
And
there. And then
well, it's the same
after,
thing. It's the same thing with WWE because they had the quarterly conference today, and Nick Khan was saying, and Triple H and Stephanie and Vince were saying that they're planning on starting the tour on the second half of the year, which is probably around SummerSlam season. So I think after SummerSlam, we'll probably see WWE start touring too. Because
SummerSlam, they got down to Arizona or Texas, is what they're saying, right?
I think I have a feeling SummerSlam is going to be in Houston.
Dude, I will be down there if you want. I think that would be a great show for us to hit up.
I think so too. I'll be excited.
I know you got a lot of expenses with going to New Orleans and everything. I'm going to New Orleans as well a couple of weeks after you, so I'll see how the funds add up. But if the funds are looking good, then we can probably get that news interview out of the way finally, and you know, definitely hit up SummerSlam if time allows.
Permit.
You know, yeah,
So shout out to Musica Lounge down here in Houston. One of
yeah.
the favorite best lounges out here. Yeah,
Shout
we
out
need
to
that.
you. Yeah, dude. And then I think that's pretty much it. I think we touched on everything. Is there anything outside of NXT AEW that's catching your eyes lately? I'll be at
And
the SWE show this weekend.
yes, SWE show. SWE is actually starting to make some noise in the industry.
Yeah, and you said
We
you see WWE working with someone before we went live.
Yeah, I think WWE is gonna end up doing a cross promotional show, if not this year, next year for sure.
Or at least get
Because
SWE onto the network.
yeah, but here's the interesting thing: Kushida has hinted at wanting to defend the cruiserweight title outside of WWE,
But is that outside of WWE or is that like NXT as well? You know, NXT UK as well.
outside of WWE umbrella.
Oh, okay. Because there are some great cruiserweights in SWE. I've gone to a couple of shows.
S
They have
SWE, MLW,
they have Will
Impact,
All Day there right now.
AEW.
Who? Yeah.
Will All
I
Day
don't.
actually is Will All Day is actually a reality wrestling original.
Yeah,
So
really nice guy too. I met him a couple of weeks ago. Really nice guy.
yeah, I think I
Uh,
think I have a feeling something's gonna happen. I think the wrestling industry right now is gotten to the point where people are seeing the benefits of a partnership. And I think that if WWE does something, it's going to be that big money match that people want. And a lot of it is, especially with Nakamura, with Kushida, with people that have come over from New Japan. I think a lot that that New Japan WWE relationship might be starting to build a little bit more. So I think that we might end up either seeing an AEW New Japan crossover or a New Japan WWE crossover within the next 2 years.
would
So,
you rather
or
see that, or would you rather see CM Punk come back?
I don't. I've
I'm
gotten to
over
the
CM
point
Punk
where,
stuff.
yeah, no. To be honest with you, if he comes back, cool. Because I do want to see one match, which is basically the Adam Cole versus Adam Cole. I mean, CM Punk versus Adam Cole. I want to see that match. But I also want to see. Uh, I think it was Will Ospreay who challenged CM Punk. So I would love to see Will Ospreay versus CM Punk. So there's a lot of matches. If we're going to do one-offs, I think it would be good to see one of those.
There's a rumor that Aleister Black's return vignette might air tomorrow.
Ooh, I'm interested to see that. I'm
They
interested to see
they,
what
they
they
have
do.
talked about the Aleister Black shown some behind the scenes stuff online about it, and I know me and you both listened to Wrestling Inc.'s podcast. Did you catch it on Monday when Raj let it slip that Zelina Vega is coming back to WWE?
No, I didn't.
So they were talking about the releases, and they were like, "Oh, I think Peyton Billy, like I think this is great for AW and Impact because Peyton Billy, Zelina Vega." And Roger's like, "Let me give you a quick spoiler on Zelina Vega. I think she's coming back with Aleister Black." And he just kind of threw it in there, and I was like, "Ooh, that could be interesting, especially with the
I,
Alexa Bliss character. I think it'd be a lot of fun."
I think it would be. I think I would like to see that. And I think if Aleister Black either comes back to SmackDown or goes to Raw, it could add a little mystique to that Alexa Bliss and Fiend where that's going, because right now we don't know where it's going. And that character that Alexa Bliss is portraying, that little
Mm-hmm.
doll, Annie, I guess they call her, it's kind of interesting to see where you want to see it develop
If Annie
to.
turns out to be Zelina Vega, that'd be pretty cool, you know. Um,
I wouldn't complain. But all right, guys, that is it for tonight's show. As always, follow us on Facebook, YouTube, Weekly Wrestling Heat. Follow us on our Instagram page, Weekly Wrestling Heat. Follow us on our Twitter, _Wrestling Heat. Follow us on our official Twitch channel, Weekly Wrestling Heat TV.
Follow
When are
me
you
on
going
I am
live? When
Riddle.
are you going with the live? When are you going live with the guys for the hookah stuff?
That is TBD because of scheduling conflicts right now.
Okay. Yeah,
But
I thought it was supposed to happen. I'm like, I don't know when this is happening.
I don't know exactly yet. I will get back on air with everybody on that. But regardless of that, Moise will be doing a little bit more stuff with Weekly Wrestling Heat. And I will be doing stuff with Hookah Heat Weekly. So we'll be back with more content. We're going to do joint content as well with Hookah Heat Weekly. We're going to do a couple of reviews. We're going to do a couple of comedy things, and we're going to come back with some interviews with some lounges, some more content creators from the hookah community. Before we go, I want to give a shout out to National Hookah Community Association. Thank you for everything y'all do to continue to fight on the flavor bans that are going on. Anyways, for me and Moise, I think that's it. Anything else?
I will be at the SWE show. I'll be tweeting pictures on Twitter and perhaps Instagram. I'm probably gonna log on to the Weekly Wrestling Heat Twitter or Instagram and do some stuff on there too with it. See if I could maybe schedule some upcoming indie talent. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I will be at SWE this weekend. I will basically be live tweeting the experience, either on Wrestling Heat, Weekly Wrestling Heat, or on my page. Probably the latter. Probably on the Weekly Wrestling Heat page though. So it'll definitely be fun.
All right, guys. So, like I said, follow us on Weekly Wrestling Heat. More content coming soon. So, from me and Moise, we're out. Peace.
Peace.